Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Today we are counting down the best top 10 low spec titles that won't destroy your computer. Now these are perfect for any laptop or low-end laptop or computer. So let's get right into it.
Now,
At number 10 we have Faster Than Light. FTL sounds like an ultra hardcore game when you describe it, a real-time strategic space roguelike. A roguelike is a game that makes you start from scratch when you die. However, FTL is actually well suited to pretty casual laptop gaming. You can even get it for your iPad. You tool up your starship, recruit your crew, and do your best trying not to get destroyed as you take an important message from one end of the galaxy to the other. Screenshots don't really do FTL justice, as all you just see is blocky graphics for your ship, not really its spacey surroundness. However, it's a perfect game for public play, nothing on screen to make you feel too embarrassed, or to keep fellow passengers glued to your screen if you play on train journeys. At number 9, we have The Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Few games stay relevant as long as Skyrim. It should feel ancient, but a mod scene has kept it vital for the past half decade. Being so old has also meant humble hardware has been able to catch up with real life spec requirements. It'll run pretty well on Intel Core series processors from the last 2-3 years, and even plays pretty well on some recent Atom/Pentium CPUs on the lowest settings. If you have a real dog of a laptop, there's also a mod that'll cut down the settings even further than the game itself allows, called Ultra Low Graphics Mod. In case you've been locked in a cupboard for the past 5 years, Skyrim is a massive open world RPG that won countless Game of the Year awards when it was released back in 2011. Now at number 8, we have Broken Age. Remember the game that earned millions and millions of dollars of funding on Kickstarter back when such things were unheard of? That's Broken Age. The point-and-click platform made one of the people who came up with Monkey Island back in the 90s. While it didn't single-handedly revive the genre, it is a fun tale that is nowhere near as frustrating as most of the early 90s adventures, most of which are best viewed through a pair of rose-tinted nostalgia specs from a distance. You play both male and female characters, skipping between chapters in their respective stories to make sure the narrative doesn't get stale. We are steering clear of spoilers, so we'll leave it at that. At number 7, we have one of my favorite games, Half-Life 2. You might head straight for 2D games when you think of games that will work with pretty modest hardware. However, some once fancy 3D games work very well with non-gaming laptops. Valve's Source engine is particularly good at working with lesser GPUs, making classics like Half-Life 2 play well on modern integrated graphics hardware. If you're not up to a thinking person's FPS like Half-Life 2, you might want to check out fantastic first-person puzzler Portal 2 instead. It is also based on the Source engine. Portal 2 takes the portal gun from Half-Life 2, which makes teleporting holes in walls and makes a whole game out of it. Possibly one of the best games of all times, actually. At number 6, we have Minecraft. It's easy to think of Minecraft as retro in some way, but it's far more innovative than some of the naysaying haters would have you believe. It's not just for kids. Try it and you might just like it. This world-building classic was never out to wow audiences with its Crysis-style graphics, but its highly scalable visuals let you tweak Minecraft to suit any machine, as well as being able to fiddle with the draw distance and the few visual effects the game uses. You can change the field of view too. Minecraft is also well suited to laptop gaming because you don't need a super accurate to be super accurate with your cursor, which is handy if you're using a trackpad rather than a mouse. And number 5, we have Rogue Legacy. Take the 90s platform stylings, add a roguelike twist to it, and thoroughly modern random level generator, and a few RPG sprinkles, and you have Rogue Legacy. It's one of the most addictive indie games in the last decade. You play as a knight type, leaping right into a castle full of nasties. When you die, and you will die, you return as one of the warrior's descendants. The castle will be different as well with the class of your character. While you have to start from scratch each time, you can unlock bonuses by collecting gold from chests in the castle. This is the bit that makes it more accessible than a true roguelike game, where you really have to start from square one when you die. At number 4, we have Don't Starve. This is a cracking little game where you wander around in a slightly twisted, nightmarish world, exploring and picking up supplies to try to survive, day by day. When the sun goes down, awful creatures start prowling around the shadows. If you don't build a fire, you're a goner. You have to eat to keep yourself healthy, and even your mental health deteriorates if you don't find out ways to prep yourself up. There are some nice visual effects in Don't Starve, but as the predominantly 2D near top-down game, it's happy to work with all but the most basic laptops. At number 3, we have Hearthstone. If you don't mind a real risk of addiction in your laptop gaming, Hearthstone is a title not to miss. It is a little like Nerd Classic card battler game, and also a video game, Magic the Gathering, but much better suited to quick casual play. Like so many modern classic games though, you'll probably end up playing it for a lot longer than 5 minutes, and it feels even more right on a laptop than a hulking desktop. It's a Valve game, and like most Valve titles, fares incredibly well on lower end hardware. It officially supports the Intel HD 1000 integrated GPU from way back in the Sandy Bridge generation half a decade ago. At number 2, we have Civilization 5 in whatever it's called, I can't say it right. The ultimate PC game? Many of us have spent a fistful of full days working through Civilization's virtual recap of the ages of man. Whether it was back in the 90s or just last week, Civ 5 has more of the casual vibe than previous Civ games, but that makes it more palatable if you're looking for something to kill 30 minutes rather than 3 hours. It'll work on almost any Intel Core series laptops from the past 5 years, but if you'll find yours still isn't up to the task, don't forget Civ 4, despite being ancient, it still works on Windows 10 through Steam. And for number 1, we have The Sims 4. EA gets a lot of flack. It was rated as the most hated company in America 2 years in a row, after all. However, it doesn't know how to court a big audience, and that means making sure games like The Sims 4 work on just about everything. The infinite lifestyle sim even has a laptop mode designed for systems that can barely make it through the title screen of The Witcher 3. The game itself is very much business as usual. You slog through a virtual life making bucks and designing living rooms, or doing your best to torture some poor virtual peon by locking them in an inescapable toilet. Other less casual EA games that work amazingly well on most laptops include Dead Space 1 to 3 and Dragon Age Origins. I hope you enjoyed this list. Be sure to click that subscribe button down below and check out these two videos right up here, and stay tuned for more.